And because news media are not saying anything about this true agenda, we will carry on speaking out. So that's now, look at the different images that have come through, different pieces of genuine footage showing the absolute truth of what is happening to our skies. All we're doing is trying to wake the public up. To start off with this first photograph for this gallery archive, this image has come in from Kathy Peters. Now, this footage, again, this photo is coming from Europe. Now, look at the aluminium skies. Can you see very clearly and closely, as this image was only taken 10 minutes ago, the white sun? This chemical atmospheric area that you're seeing on the photograph, everything again is just a grey haze. Now, what is very important, and I'm going to repeat myself many times to try and get this truth out, is look on the ground. Can you see on the garden area, even on the bins and the background, them bungalow houses, can you see clearly that what we're noticing is the blue sky has changed colour, and the shadows as well, a dimming that's going on. Like I stated through comments on other videos, for sky watchers to send photos in at the right time when we start to see this dark shadow. Indeed, I believe that we have many a times through different parts of days as well of an eclipse. Now let me go to other photos. So Kathy, thank you for this image that you've sent in to us. We've got two fresh new images as well that's coming from Wesley Melton. Stated through email, before work I took these images and I've been viewing your videos, and now looking upon the skies I can see exactly what they're doing. I've become fully aware of this now, and thank you. So on the photograph what you're seeing is geoengineering. So during the morning rise as well, you'll start to see a strange formation, a haze again. This is what these chemicals do. Now with this new image as well, you're starting to see the sun rise. It looks kind of normal, doesn't it? But again, look at all the chemical trails, the geoengineering that's being used again to block out the sun, our vitamin D, our light source as well, our energy source. They're just covering it up, again, just to hide the truth. They don't want you to see other things being covered up. So again, thank you for these two fantastic photos. Take care. Here's two fresh images that have come through as well from JD Batterton. Now this personal community is showing you these strange skies again being covered up. Look above as well, which is very important to speak of, because what we're seeing is a huge blanket. To the right side, even the top corner of the photograph, you are seeing a dark blue sky. Look at the area that we see of the sun, but again, look at these lines, look at the shadow that's following with this chemical trail. There's many trails on this photograph. Just a huge different colour of our skies. I'm going to show you now the moon photograph that was sent in by this kind person. It was only taken a short time ago, and I've still getting emails stating by skeptics explaining that the moon is not being chemtrailed. Let me just show you this truth now to prove to you it is indeed being chemtrailed. Okay, now this is the photograph. Okay, it was only sent in a short time ago. What you're seeing is geoengineering in front of the area that we see of the natural satellite of the Earth, the moon. Now, to the right-hand side, there is a red reflection. That's nothing. That's part of the light source that's coming to the right-hand side. That is man-made. But what you're seeing on the screen, central to the left-hand side as well, is chemical trails being sprayed. Now, like I stated just then about the shills, they will explain this, stating that it's just mist on the windscreen, a mark or two, nothing to see here. But indeed, when you look closely, it is geoengineering. Okay, JD Batterton has just sent in a couple more images. Let me just show you these. So what we see on the photograph is geoengineering again. This is not a natural cloud system. To the left side you're seeing many chemical lines, not contrails. These are again chemical demonic trails. Let me just zoom into this area to the left hand side where you're seeing the area of the light source of the sun. See, it's gone on for far too long now, isn't it? I mean, how many years now? Far too many years. I mean, years back, we're looking even at the 1960s and going back, they were starting to geoengineer our skies. But the progression has got much stronger, isn't it? We are noticing now that they are just spraying like they don't care anymore, hammering the skies, making sure these chemicals are becoming much thicker in our atmosphere, causing a huge cloak of poison again, trying to deflect the light as well, coming from the sun. Let me go to the other photograph. Now this is a very interesting photo as well, because what we're seeing is a chemical reaction on those chemical formations. Again, we know the colour of the sun on a sundown, on a sunrise. We know also that there is a red reflection that flecks through on a sundown. But indeed, what you're seeing here is chemicals, this pink colour. Now, there's many different colours that we've got to remember to separate from one another to try and not confuse things. Okay, because there is a pink haze that beams through from the Nibiru system. Now, again, I will speak through the different separate of colours. Those shills again will try and confuse you to say, oh look, he's saying it's this, he's saying it's that. But indeed, I will only speak out to when I see those colours beaming through. So thank you for these fantastic photographs. Let's now move along to other photos. Okay, we've got an email that's come through proving exactly what we've been saying on other videos about these objects being taken from the ground, spraying in the skies. Now this email's come through from Rose from Canada, stating, "Hi Matt, glad you're back, safe. I saw the strange chemtrail forming from what seemed to be light from the ground up. I was driving along the highway at about 9:30 a.m. on my way to church and stopped at the side of the road to take a snap. The trail came straight up and then made a sharp left turn towards another trail that was being formed. No plane attached to these. Permission to use. God bless, Rose from Canada." Now, this is getting very much more interesting because, again, they do not want the masses of public across the world to know this truth. So let's look at these images. Okay, here's the photograph. Now, this is quite interesting, this photograph is, because it proves without any doubt whatsoever that this has come from the ground. Look at the formation. Now, if I was a passenger on that plane, I would certainly think that the pilot was drunk. Something was wrong with him, because I would be very worried being taken off like that on that straight angle as well. Now, there has been other naysayers through the different photographs when I've been explaining that these objects have been taken from the ground straight up into our skies. They've stated, you're looking at the picture differently because, again, it is indeed at a strange angle and it's just the perception where it is coming from the skies. It's not coming from the ground. But apparently now we've got this photograph right in front of everybody watching this video showing that indeed it is coming from the ground. Let me just zoom into the photograph for you. Taking another look at the photograph, just zoomed in very much slightly to the right hand side, you can just see behind those trees where it's taken off. Now, please observe factories, buildings, huge buildings where factories had closed down. They go to them places, they set off these devices in the skies before the sunrise, and they're being controlled. So indeed the military are working very hard covering up our skies. Thank you again for this true image. Okay, just before I go on this photograph, I just want to explain something as well. Now, through the email as well, no plane Now people are starting to pick this up. They're starting to notice there is no craft spraying these lines in the skies. There is no plane on this photograph, is there? Now I'm going to zoom in just a bit more closely to prove to you that this is happening without no military plane. Okay, now I know it's quite blurry, but indeed, to the area that you would see the plane, it isn't there, is it? Just another piece of evidence. We've got to keep going and keep progressing these photographs all the time. JD Patterson has just sent these other photographs in right now of the skies. Looking closely as well, it is indeed what they're doing is a cover-up. There is that strange colour as well that's reflecting, the dimming of the sun. Now, looking at the photograph, okay, that hasn't been messed with, hasn't been enhanced, no filter, this is a genuine photograph. This chap as well is explaining that they're seeing this darkness, this dimness in the skies, completely different from the skies from the past years. So it does look like the moon, doesn't it? It's not as bright as it was before for the 9:30 skies. Let me just move to the other photograph. Okay, this person in our community is picking up an object that's spraying in the skies. Now, like all of us sky watchers, we are very familiar of military planes. We're very familiar of helicopters and passenger jets, private jets, and so on. But when we pick up something that looks slightly different, that we've not seen before, we will pick up the camera and have a look, won't we? Now I'm going to zoom into this formation. Okay, what I've done is I've zoomed in halfway just to catch this. At the front of the object, there are these two rounded objects either side. It's like a very strange shape, isn't it? Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4 trails coming off the back end of this. There is no normal wing. I mean, the area that you can see is a different formation than any other object I've known. Let me just get more of a zoom on this. Okay, now I know it's quite blurred, but we're getting an outline, aren't we, of a strange formation. There's two areas just here to either side. And this line, this strange line. Again, there's no wing span. Look at these trails being produced at the back here. There's no funnels or jet lines or anything like that, or any jets that's producing all this aluminum in our skies. Something else is spraying our skies. Technology? Is it craft unknown to us? Again, I've noticed, just like on the other photograph that was sent in, of chemical trails, but no craft, no object spraying them. Now, when I've got more time, I will produce more video footage to catch these unaided, visible craft that we are now noticing on people's photographs. Just another capture, thank you. Here is the other photograph as well that's come in as well. Look at the aluminium being sprayed up there, and the sky again is changing its colour, the colours and everything. Now, I had an email come through as well saying, Matt, you should be ashamed of yourself showing these photographs. But indeed, why should I be ashamed? They should be ashamed, those that are spraying the government, the shadow government. So, those naysayers, okay, that try and turn the information around, try and distract the public, trying to take you away from the truth, should be ashamed. I'm very proud of what I do. Very, very proud. I see what they're doing to our skies. I remember the skies from back in the day. I don't want my children to breathe this poison in. I want them to grow perfectly, naturally, towards the earth. And what we're seeing again is corruption. All this is landing on our crops. It's going into our food. The food chain is sealing the food into packages and producing them onto our shelves for us to go in the shops. And also, with the prices are going up and everything, the food isn't as good as it was back in the day. I mean, vegetables. When you buy vegetables now, they're not as healthy looking, not as ripe as looking. and shrinking. I mean, everything that we're seeing now is so different. I mean, I notice now, like McDonald's, Burger King, other places, fast food takeaways, it's heaving with people, family members. It's heaving. It wasn't like that before. They are now being controlled, and also the food administrations are causing people to be addicted to these foods. I mean, these foods like McDonald's, when they grow the potatoes, they get sprayed again with these other chemicals to try and clean the vegetables and what have you that's being put in their meats as well. I mean, it's all bleached and cleaned. And it's no good for us. It really isn't. I mean, I've sat in fast food takeaways many months back, and when these people eat them, they change. They just become very sort of just changed. And it's got to a point now that the governments and news media bringing out adverts and so on. I mean, the whole scenario is control, control, control all the time. Distraction all the time. New mobile phones. I mean, we spoke about this many years back and even many months ago as well. And it's just a situation, isn't it? I mean, when we look at the photographs, okay, and we look around and the public are just keeping their eyes down. I know and I'm fully aware that they focus on their family day-to-day things, their work and etc. and what have you. But again, what we're seeing, and I hope that more see this in our skies, because again, it's harming our world. This is our planet, not theirs. They're in fear of the public if they start waking up. That is the worst thing that they want. But again, when they do this, they're laughing all the time. Let me move to other photographs. I mean, I've got 3 of my cousins that are coming down from Lancashire tomorrow, spending 3 weeks down here. And they've all got children, family members, and they're working very close to here as well. So I've invited them to stay. But they're taking images, they've subscribed, they can see what's going on, and they're just absolutely angry about this, very upset, because again we're seeing the beautiful land that we live on, and then we look up to the skies now and we see this, like on the screen. Chemical trails, geoengineering, again, the dark skies. Let me just move to other attachments. Thank you for sending these in, and God bless you too. Okay, just one last image just come through as we just spoke about the other photographs coming in from the same person. And I respect everyone that sends their images in. Now, I want you to do something as well that's so important, okay? To the new Sky Watchers as well that subscribe to the channel, I have big respect to you for doing so, and I'm so glad that people are coming forward. We are now heading towards a big figure of subscribers, and that's fantastic. I did have in the past channel up to 40,000 subscribers, and it was sad to see that people had lost the channel. They stopped me from producing other videos. The only reason why is, we all know, don't we, because of speaking out. They start getting a bit worried about when we hit a nerve or two. So again, it is important to watch the news media, okay, very, very closely when they speak about the weather, and then look outside and see these chemical trails, these objects spraying all the haze above the natural cloud systems, and you will know that something is wrong. Because when they don't speak out, when no government speaks out, or even people, there's thousands upon thousands of people that watch the channels, and they have written statements to their governments across the world, their presidents, and they don't get no response. They might get a short emails explaining like, yeah, I fully understand, and you're a good person. But then there's nothing else. Okay? Now, there's been many truthers that have spoke to pilots and people through the geoengineering, what they're doing. Harvard and other formations of corporations. But nothing is speaking out. No one's speaking out of why and when and how. Yes, they speak about weaponized weather changes, and they speak about blocking the arrays from the sun. But I've looked into this in detail, and all I can think of, and when I've seen objects up there, hand on heart, I know it is indeed a huge cover up. It has to be, and it's going to be, because they don't want to wake people up. Let me just zoom into this formation for you. Now, it's quite confusing, isn't it? Because if I, again, like I spoke earlier on, that I was on that plane, if it was indeed a passenger plane, I'll be worrying if it was going straight to the ground, like that, at that angle, wouldn't you? Because, again, people have stated these are just passenger jets. Newspapers, news media, just state that these are contrails. Nothing to worry about. But I'll tell you what, if I see a plane like that in the skies, I'd be very, very worried. Let me just zoom in closer to this object. Oh dear, where's the plane? It's missing. You can see clearly, can't you, that the form of these chemical trails has gone into one, and it seems to be like a form of a white object. But again, just in front of it, that you can see clearly, there's nothing there. Or is there something there that's being cloaked? It moves at a strange angle. Now, I'm getting reports as well that these strange formations we're seeing in the sky that move in different angles move very fast, very quickly, a lot quicker than a military plane. What is it? I'm not sure. But again, we're going to continue to keep watching. JT Batterton has just sent this one through as well, no seconds ago. So I thought it has to be said and has to be shown. The photo. Look at the area that we see of the golden sun, but no more. We're seeing a white sun in the skies around the area as well. From where we would see the golden sun, it's very, very dim. Chemical lines being sprayed, causing this haze reaction again to this area. Look above, look, these other chemicals being spread, and they will cause a chemical reaction to the aluminium, and then we've got these other chemicals again, barium, that's produced up there, and then the skies will be dark. Look as well in the trees. Down here you've got a reflection that's artificial, like a studio light in the skies. Now, if this indeed was our golden sun, it would beam a golden colour across the area of this park. Here's an interesting photo to prove that they're still doing this right to this day. Now, Mikey from Detroit is showing you as well this haze in the skies, chemical reaction to our atmosphere. Look at the halo, and indeed the sun is dimming. Look towards the left-hand side. We've got this chemical formation. Now, to the right-hand side, we do see part of the halo, but it's important again to keep focus to these areas where they're very, very lit up bright. Let me just zoom into this left side for you. Okay, what you're seeing again is very, very interesting. Now, I saw this a couple of weeks ago, around about 3 p.m. Now, look closely at the area of this figuration of this chemical cloud. Here. Can you see above? There's a mirror image of the chemical cloud just above what is going on. It's reflecting, isn't it? Behind as well, the sky's very, very dark. So I've never seen this figuration before, this mirror effect. Very strange indeed. Thank you for sending this in to show the community of what is happening. Just got another email that's come through from Chloe. Now it states, "Hello Matt, after a cloudy start, very chilly here in Massachusetts. Planes in plain sight angers me every time. Thank you for spreading the scenes around the globe, Chloe." Now, let me just show you these images that have come through by this genuine person, again, in our community. Okay, this is the first photograph of interest that was sent in by this kind person. Now, I'm still getting a lot of emails as well, explaining that. Are these holograms? Now, that is another belief, isn't it? And I respect people for their beliefs, but again, they're very close, aren't they? Very frighteningly close. I mean, they could smash into each other, can't they? These objects being sprayed. I mean, that again is against aviation laws, what you're seeing on the screen. Let me just take you to the other photograph because they are becoming more interesting every day. Now, when we look at the photograph at first, it does look like a plane, doesn't it? Just a chemical trail. Now, we all know that what they're doing, and I'm going to zoom in because I do believe that what you're going to see now is a holographic plane. It doesn't seem right. It's very unmarkable. There's no markings on it, and the contrail that you see as well with these indeed are chemical trails, but when you look closely, okay, they don't match the area towards the engines are, and it's very small, and there is a dark shadow as well just above, because again, when you look closely at these images, you do see a natural blue sky, but when you go closer, you start to see shadows reflecting off that blue sky, and even off the so-called plane. So there is a blanket of haze above, and then we're seeing the trail. Let me just show you this. I'm not going to use any filters to enhance the photo because I believe that it just ruins it, because again, we just want the original images to see what we can catch. Now, first of all though, I'm showing you the chemical trail. Look in the background, there has been another object that's sprayed very hard, causing this trail to expand, multiply in the skies. Down below as well, that is a chemical cloud system, not a natural cloud. Let me just move on to the zooming in of the object. Okay, now to all of us, when we take a first glance at this object that I'm calling it, it does look like a plane, doesn't it? Now when we zoom in, we're picking up shadows. Like we do, we see these shadows, don't we? We see these chemical objects spraying in front of a long shadow. And I mean, even on the other video, those formations, those lines, very, very strange. Let me just zoom in again and speak through this evidence. Okay, this is as good as we're going to get it at the moment for the quality of the photograph. But it's catching this, isn't it? Look to the left side of this so-called plane. Can you see the dark shadow here? There's a dark shadow here, and on the trail, it's dark to this side and to this side. This is a shadow bouncing off something that's been sprayed further on up. There's no markings. I mean, there's no markings, and the jets, I mean, it's too smooth. Even the wings are different shapes. It seems to bow to the left-hand side here, and it's going downwards here. Look at the way it's upwards here. I mean, the whole thing just does not look right, does it? I mean, look at the area where you're seeing this poison being sprayed. Just astonishing photos, they really are. Okay, what I've done is I've zoomed in just a little bit more, and when I've noticed the photograph, it seems to like it's broken away here. Here is the so-called back end of this object. There's a piece missing just here, but then you'll see these other formations as well. But again, I mean, look at this isn't a plane, this is something else. You're seeing this front end, and then it changes. It's not a solid, I mean, look how the wings sort of, if you look closely, can you see the wings go straight across here? It's not like it's on the back end. Again, we've got to think out of the box with this, but I have noticed planes for years. We all have. I've gone to airports, watched them fly above. I've seen planes thousands of feet high back years ago, and zooming in with even older cameras and taking images, and they've been solid planes with markings. I mean, look at this. This photograph was taken by a up-to-date camera, and again, it's just a complete different object from a natural plane that we normally see in the past in our skies. So now we're seeing a lot of this. Okay, now we're looking at the last photo on this archive, and I've got hundreds of photos to go through. I've even got photos from weeks back. I've got to sort it out, and I will produce them. I got to do this. It's a passion to speak out the truth, and we just got to take it on the chin. We've got to carry on. For whatever's been said by other people, just focus on. Just ignore those that are trying to ridicule the truth. Because the more we do this, the more we're seeing a difference, aren't we? Now, on this photograph as well, look at the chemical trails being sprayed. Very strange shape, aren't they? I'm going to... this photograph came in this way, like it is now. I'm going to rotate it to get a clear shot. Okay, what I've done is I've rotated the photograph. I'm going to zoom in to this so-called plane as well. Okay, I'm going to do some enhancing this time on this photograph because it's quite blurry, isn't it? But I still believe that this is not a natural plane that we see up there. Okay, what I've done is, it's like it's in infrared. Now, to the left side and to the right side, the wingspan, the wings seem to have broken away. Now to the top area as well, it's a lot warmer, isn't it? But again, we're seeing a different object. I mean, look carefully. This end here is supposed to be a lot longer, okay? It's shortened off, very, very short here, and then it just morphs into a crazy shape at the back, like a triangle shape. Look at this wingspan here. Can you see how it shortens off? See, those in power think, okay, with the technology, that we won't be able to see this far up. We're just thinking this is a plane. But now people are starting to look up and notice the details of what's going on. Can you see again these chemical trails? But again, to this angle here, it's far too to the left. I mean, it doesn't even look straight, does it? I mean, it's supposed to be dead on straight, but again, it seems to be these of the poison they're spraying again is too far to the left and the plane's too far to the right. I mean, come on, they've got to get it right if they're going to do this. But again, they make mistakes. We're all human, and again, this is man-made technology. Very, very bizarre, isn't it? I mean, the whole thing, isn't it?